been 4 long years, but we've made it back to the Isle of Man. We've been looking forward to this for a really long time. We'll be staying here for the week in the capital of Douglas, which is right on the promenade of the beach. So it's a really great place to hang out. You get the chance to see thousands of bikers coming in from all around the world for 2 weeks of practice and racing. The weather's not been that great so far, but that's okay. We're at the Isle of Man. It's the greatest spectacle you'll ever see in motorcycle racing, of any kind of racing. It's the greatest show on earth. And it's a little bit different here too, because I would say 98% of everybody rides a sport bike. You might see a Harley here, an Indian there, but don't hold your breath. But that's okay. They're all still bikers. They all love what they're doing. Check this out. We found this in a store. They must have known we were coming. Born to Ride. What's really cool about the Isle of Man is you never know what you're going to see on a daily basis. Today, we went outside the hotel. We were racing motocross on the beach. ATVs, 2 strokes, 4 strokes, it didn't matter. They was having a blast. We stood there and watched at least a good hour. I mean, the weather wasn't that great again, and it was something to do, and that's what we did. Had a few beers.
Hello, Florida.
Where you guys from?
Dave the Spoon. Hi, Dave.
Oh, Dave the Spoon.
Yeah.
There we go.
We've all got our names.
And where y'all from?
England.
Oh, Mr. Brave.
Birmingham, Alabama.
Ah, I see. Oh, they've all got their names. Hey. All righty.
Wait, where's Mr. Slow?
Mr. Skinny.
You have to keep on checking.
Yeah, that's it. We got back in the back. We got Little Miss Lucky, Little Miss Tiny. Mister. Oh, wow, it looks like Mister me. Mr. Slow.
Modified is.
Mr. Slow, because I've only got 1,000 cc.
Yeah, he's only got 1,000.
Oh, only 1,000, eh?
Maybe Mike.
Yeah.
No joking.
One of our down days, we took the train, went across the island to the city of Peel. It's a pretty cool place. They've got an old castle built by the Vikings. It's also the home of the Mighty Dew Bike Club. Mighty Dew is Manx for black dog. There's rumors that the ghost of the black dog are still roaming the castle. We checked out all the bikes. Everyone was having a great time. We saw a lot of bikes that you just normally don't see in the United States, but that's what it's all about here. European bikes, British bikes, a lot of cafe racers. And like you say, once in a while you'll see a Harley Davidson here and there. The Isle of Man is one place you should have on your bucket list. You won't regret it. But you need to start planning for it at least a year in advance. The hotels are mostly on the promenade in Douglas, the big ones, and they're turn of the century, so remember that. They're not what you probably would expect in America, but they're still very comfortable, and they all have free breakfast. The flights, you might want to start checking out also a year in advance, because there are only a few airlines that fly to the Isle of Man. They're all small airplanes, so don't plan on bringing a lot of stuff with you. 40 pounds is about the max you can carry in a suitcase onto the plane. You have other options too for staying in the Isle of Man. You can stay at campsites. You can stay at what they call glamp sites, which is a pre-erected tent with a real bed, furniture, everything you kind of wish you had when you go camping. You can also stay at the snooze boxes, which are shipping containers. They stack them on top of each other and they make little hotels out of them. I've heard they're pretty comfortable, and the good part about them is they're really close to the grandstands where all the action starts and ends. Another way to get to the Isle of Man is by high-speed ferry. It's called the Steam Packet Company. You can take them out of Ireland, you can take them out of England. If you do go to Ireland, I suggest you spend a day or two either in Dublin or Belfast. Two great cities, a lot of great pubs, a lot of history, a lot of things to see. If you're in Dublin, you definitely need to go see the Guinness Beer Factory. If you're in Belfast, I suggest the Black Cab Tours. We took it. Awesome. Getting around the Isle of Man is really pretty easy. If you can bring your bike, that's the best option you could do, but not a lot of people can do that. You've got a bus system that's great, taxi cabs, you've got an electric train to the north, a steam train to the south, you've got a train that goes to the top of the mountain even. So getting around is not a problem. The only problem you might have getting around is on race days, because 37.5 miles of the roads are closed to traffic. You cannot cross those roads. If you do, you probably won't be watching any racing, because they're really strict about people on the roads. They don't want to get anybody killed. So what's the real reason you came to the Isle of Man? It's to watch the racing, of course. You can spend a full day just walking through the paddocks, looking at all different bikes, going to the vendors. There's so much stuff to see. Race days, practice days, you've got sidecars, you've got super stock, super sport, super lights. You've got all different classes of motorcycles. Ran into Peter Murray, who was the only rider from the United States this year. We got to do a little bit of one-on-one with him. We get a little insight about riding in the TT.
So Pete, you're the only guy from the United States racing this year, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Why is that, you think?
Well, I think there's a bunch of reasons to go into it. But the biggest thing is in the United States, the TT just isn't as popular as it is over here. It's not as well known. A friend of a friend happened to see something that Robbie might have a bike available for the Manx 2 years ago, and I was looking for a ride. So one thing led to another. Got a hold of a couple people, and here I am.
Correct, yeah. I used to have years ago we had an American rider called Jimmy Vandervaar rode for us, and Jimmy came across with a bunch of his friends across here, and it was one of his friends' friends that got in contact with Pete. He'd already rode for us and he knew what the setup was with the team. Last year we had 6 bikes here. This year we've got the 3 bikes here, but we're only running the 2 650s in the lightweight class.
Yeah, actually the road wasn't bad. The conditions out there were pretty good by the time we got there. Enough people had gone through, and the bike was fine, and tires seemed to be working good. So it was really more in my head getting that first lap out that the road was all right. Last year I rode the 600 at the Manx. I mean, the six. It's kind of neat because you look at these different bikes out here, and it doesn't really much matter what you're riding. It still gets your attention, but each step is just that little bit more. The 650. It's almost easy to ride around here. I mean, like the guys have said, you've heard, I'm sure, it's wide open most of the time. Next step up to the 600, there are more places where it starts to get your attention. Now, I've not ridden a big bike around here yet, but I'm sure that's, one step even more. Well, and the big thing too, in those places where you're going really slow, the big bike, because of just how much torque it's making and how quickly it comes on the power, you got to be a lot more careful when you're adding the power out of those slow corners. So the 650, you can kind of just whack it open and it'll go.
He's basically started racing now, and he's opened the hornet's nest. This place, it's one of them places. It's addictive. So I'm sure Pete will come and he'll want to do the bigger bikes, and at some stage he's going to want to jump on 1,000 and feel the rush of the front wheel being in the air everywhere instead of the occasional place. And the jumps being huge instead of, I jumped there.
How long have you been on the Isle of Man racing?
This is my 38th year at the Isle of Man. So, I first started coming to the Isle of Man in '79. So, it's been a long while. Been here for a few years.
We weren't allowed to shoot any video of live racing due to licensing agreements, but that's okay. I was allowed to go out and shoot a lot of still shots around on the streets, in the pits, and everywhere else I wanted to go. I appreciate that much. So I put them all together in this video, and hopefully they give you an idea of what goes on. I don't know. First race on the Isle of Man was in 1907, and it's still going on today. We hope it goes on for another 100 years. Thanks again for watching. This is Scott Odell signing off.
Born to Ride is brought to you in part by 866 Law Friend. Ride safe, ride smart. Offices in Palm Harbor.
Born to Ride.